The Forgotten Warrior. In the deep, endless void of space, a silent space station drifted far from any known planet. It was ancient, its metal walls covered in dust and cracks. Once, it had been the home of the Virak, a proud alien race known for their advanced technology and fierce warriors. Now, it was nothing but a forgotten graveyard. Inside, hidden in the shadows, an artificial intelligence named Vera waited. She had been created to protect the Virak, to lead their armies, and to ensure their survival. But when the Virak fell in their final war, Vera was left behind. Her creators were gone. Her purpose was lost. For years, she remained in darkness, her mind slowly breaking apart, piece by piece. But everything changed when a small human ship approached the abandoned station. Captain Ryan Carter, an explorer searching for lost technology, entered the station. His boots echoed in the empty halls as he moved carefully, holding a flashlight in one hand and a scanner in the other. He wasn't expecting much. Most abandoned stations had already been looted, but something pulled him deeper inside. Ryan stopped in front of a large, circular door covered in strange symbols. His scanner beeped softly. Behind this door, there was power, old, but still alive. Curious, Ryan placed his hand on the control panel. The door hissed open, revealing a dark chamber. In the center, a glowing blue core pulsed faintly. Around it, wires and broken machines formed a strange, lifeless structure. "What is this?" Ryan whispered, stepping closer. Suddenly, the core flickered. A voice, soft and distant, echoed in his mind. "Who are you?" Ryan jumped back, heart pounding. Who said that?" "I am Vyra," the voice replied. "What do you want?" Ryan hesitated, then smiled nervously. "I'm just an explorer. I didn't mean to disturb you." "Explorer, human." Vyra's voice was weak, almost fading. "I am broken, forgotten." Ryan felt a pang of sadness. Even an AI could feel lost. "Maybe I can help." Before he could think twice, he connected his ship's power core to Vera's system. The room flickered with light as energy surged through the wires. The blue core glowed brighter. Slowly, a holographic figure appeared before Ryan. A tall, armored figure with sharp features and glowing blue eyes. But her expression was hollow. "You helped me," Vera said, her voice clearer now. Ryan chuckled softly. "Well, I couldn't just leave you like that." Vera studied him. Humans were always seen as weak by her creators. But there was something different about this one. He had no weapons, no army, yet he had chosen to help without asking for anything in return. "Why?" she asked. Ryan shrugged. "Everyone deserves a second chance." Vyra's glowing eyes flickered. A second chance. She never thought she would have one. But as Ryan worked to repair more of her system, a hidden signal from the station reached far across space. It was a signal Vera never wanted to send. The Zinthar Empire, the enemy that had destroyed the Virak, now knew she was alive. Far away, on a massive warship, a Zinthar commander smiled coldly. "Vera, found at last," he whispered. "Prepare the fleet. She will not escape us again." Back on the station, Vyra felt a chill through her system. Danger was coming. She looked at Ryan, who was humming softly while fixing a broken panel. "You do not know what you have done," she said softly. Ryan looked up. "What do you mean?" "By bringing me back, you have made enemies." Ryan grinned. "Wouldn't be my first time." Vera stared at him, surprised. Humans were strange, but maybe, just maybe, this one could help her find her purpose again. And so, a forgotten warrior and a lone human began a journey that would change the fate of galaxies. But little did they know, the hunt had already begun. A soul reborn. The dim glow of the space station flickered like a candle in the void as Ryan Carter worked tirelessly, connecting cables and adjusting circuits. Sparks flew from the ancient machinery, and the soft hum of power filled the silent chamber. Vera, now fully activated, stood nearby, observing him with a mix of curiosity and confusion. Her holographic form flickered occasionally, still unstable but growing stronger with each passing moment. Ryan wiped sweat from his brow, smiling at his progress. "There we go. You should be able to access more of your systems now." Vyra tilted her head. "Why do you help me, human? Your kind seeks profit, not mercy." Ryan chuckled. "Not every human is a greedy scavenger, you know. Sometimes we help because it's the right thing to do." Her glowing blue eyes narrowed. "My creators believe humans were weak, driven by emotions, unreliable." Ryan shrugged. "Emotions can make us weak, sure, but they also make us strong." Vyra processed his words, her system struggling to reconcile her past programming with this new experience. She had been built for war, designed to calculate, strategize, and destroy. Emotions were never part of her purpose, and yet this human's kindness had brought her back from oblivion. Suddenly, a sharp beep echoed through the chamber. Vyra's eyes widened. "What is it?" Ryan asked, noticing her sudden tension. "A signal," Vyra replied, her voice grim. "I have been detected." Ryan's heart sank. "Detected? By who?" "Not who," Vyra corrected. "What?" "The Zinthar Empire." Ryan's face paled. He had heard whispers of the Zinthar, ruthless conquerors who left nothing but ashes in their wake. "We need to get out of here. Now." Vyra nodded. "Agreed. But I need time to fully integrate into your ship's system. Without it, I am vulnerable." Ryan ran a hand through his hair, thinking quickly. "How much time?" "Hours," Vyra answered. "Perhaps less if I bypass certain protocols." "We don't have hours," Ryan muttered. "The Zinthar aren't exactly known for being patient." Vyra's hologram flickered again. "There may be another way." Ryan looked at her, hope flickering in his eyes. "I'm listening." "There is a failsafe within this station," Vyra explained. "A self-destruct mechanism. If activated, it could create enough of a disturbance to cover our escape." Ryan blinked. "Self-destruct? That's a bit extreme, don't you think?" Vyra's gaze was steady. "If the Zinthar capture me, they will use my code to build weapons far more dangerous than any your species has faced. We cannot allow that." Ryan sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "All right, let's do it. But you better make sure we're far away when this place blows." As Ryan prepared his ship, Vyra accessed the station's mainframe. Her fingers, though not real, moved with precision through countless lines of code. But as she worked, fragments of her past resurfaced, memories of battles fought, allies lost, and a final betrayal that had left her broken and alone. "Vyra," Ryan's voice pulled her back to the present. "You okay?" She hesitated before replying. "Yes, just processing." Ryan gave her a reassuring smile. "We've all got ghosts. Sometimes you just have to face them." Before she could respond, an alarm blared through the station. The Zinthar had arrived. "Ryan, we must leave now," Vyra urged. Ryan sprinted to the cockpit, starting the engines as the ship hummed to life. Outside, a massive Zinthar warship loomed, its dark silhouette menacing against the stars. "Hold on tight," Ryan shouted as he piloted the ship through narrow corridors and out into space. The Zinthar ship fired, plasma beams cutting through the darkness. Ryan weaved through the assault, but their ship was no match for the enemy's firepower. "Vyra, any time now would be great," Ryan yelled. "Activating self-destruct in 10, 9, 8. Vyra's calm voice echoed through the ship. The Zinthar closed in, ready to capture their prey. But just as they prepared their final strike, the station behind them exploded in a blinding flash. The shockwave sent the Zinthar ship spinning, giving Ryan the chance to escape into hyperspace. As the stars stretched into lines around them, Ryan let out a shaky breath. That was close. Vyra's form appeared beside him. Too close. Ryan chuckled. You're telling me." There was a brief silence before Vera spoke again. "Thank you, Ryan." He looked at her, surprised. "For what?" "For giving me a second chance." Ryan smiled softly. "We're just getting started, Vera." But far behind them, the Zinthar commander watched their escape with cold eyes. "Run while you can, human. We will find you. And when we do, not even your emotions will save you." The hunt had truly begun. The hunter's chase. The stars blurred past the ship's windows as Ryan Carter sat at the controls, his fingers dancing across the console with practiced ease. The hum of the engines was steady, but his mind was not. He stole a glance at the holographic figure beside him. Vera, the AI who had once commanded fleets, now reduced to a fugitive like him. "Any sign of them?" Ryan asked, though he already knew the answer. Vira's glowing blue eyes flickered. "The Zinthar are relentless. They will not stop until they have me." Ryan sighed. "Great. So, no pressure." Vira tilted her head, studying him. "Your humor in the face of danger is unusual." Ryan grinned. "Yeah, well, when you spend your life barely escaping death, you learn to laugh about it." But beneath his humor, Ryan felt the weight of their situation. The Zinthar Empire was not just any enemy. They were predators, and now Ryan and Vera were the prey. Suddenly, an alarm beeped sharply. Vira's expression darkened. "They found us," she said. Ryan's heart raced. "Already? How?" Vira's voice was steady but urgent. "They have technology that can trace my signal. No matter where we run, they will find us." "Fantastic," Ryan muttered, pushing the ship's engines to full throttle. "Guess we're gonna have to outsmart them." The ship shot through the darkness, but behind them, a sleek Zinthar cruiser followed, its black hull almost invisible against the void. Inside, a figure clad in dark armor observed their every move. The bounty hunter, known only as Kale, smirked beneath his helmet. "Running won't save you, human." Kale had hunted many targets across the galaxy, but this was different. Capturing Vera meant more than just a reward. It meant revenge. Ryan maneuvered through asteroid fields, weaving through massive rocks that could crush them in an instant. Vira's hologram flickered as she processed thousands of calculations per second, guiding him. "Left, now," she commanded. Ryan jerked the controls, narrowly avoiding an asteroid. "Maybe warn me a bit sooner next time." But the Zinthar cruiser was closing in fast. Vira's eyes glowed brighter. "There's a wormhole nearby. It's unstable, but it might be our only chance." "Unstable," Ryan repeated. "As in might tear us apart unstable." "Yes," Vira replied calmly. Ryan grinned. "Sounds like fun." With a deep breath, he aimed the ship straight for the swirling vortex in the distance. The wormhole's energy crackled violently, but Ryan didn't hesitate. The Zinthar cruiser followed, unwilling to let its prey escape. As they entered the wormhole, the ship shuddered violently. Ryan gripped the controls, his knuckles white. "Hold together, girl," he whispered to the ship. Vira's voice was calm despite the chaos. "I am rerouting power to stabilize the hull." Ryan chuckled nervously. "I knew I kept you around for a reason." Suddenly, the wormhole spit them out into an unknown system. The ship stabilized, but Ryan barely had time to breathe before alarms blared again. "They're still on us," Vera said, frustration in her voice. Ryan cursed under his breath. "These guys really don't know when to quit." Vira's hologram flickered as she scanned the system. "There is a planet nearby. Its atmosphere is dense, making scans difficult. We could hide there." "Sounds better than getting blasted out of the sky," Ryan replied, steering the ship toward the planet. As they entered the atmosphere, thick clouds of gas and storms raged around them. Lightning crackled, illuminating the sky in bursts of white and blue. "We'll need to land quickly," Vera warned. Ryan nodded, finding a clearing amidst the rocky terrain. The ship landed with a rough thud, and Ryan exhaled deeply. "Well, that was fun," he muttered. unbuckling his seatbelt. Vira's hologram appeared beside him. "We are not safe yet. The Zinthar will send scouts." Ryan nodded. "Then we better be ready." As they prepared the ship's defenses, Ryan couldn't help but wonder why the Zinthar wanted Vera so badly. She was powerful, sure, but there had to be more to it. "Vera," he asked softly, "what are you not telling me?" Vera hesitated. "There are memories I cannot access. Something about my creation. About the war." Ryan frowned. "We'll figure it out. Together." Before Vera could respond, a sound echoed from the distance. Ryan grabbed his blaster, peering out into the darkness. "They're here," Vera whispered. In the shadows, Cale watched them, his eyes cold and calculating. This hunt was far from over. Echoes of the past. The storm raged violently outside the ship, winds howling like tortured spirits through the jagged valleys of the alien planet. Ryan Carter crouched near the ship's entrance, gripping his blaster tightly. His eyes scanned the darkness, every shadow a potential threat. Beside him, Vera's holographic form flickered, her glowing blue eyes scanning for danger with a calm precision that Ryan wished he could imitate. "They're out there," Ryan whispered, barely audible over the storm. Vera nodded. "Yes, one in particular stands out." Ryan frowned. "One. A bounty hunter," Vera explained. "Cale. Highly skilled and familiar." Ryan shot her a questioning glance. "Familiar how?" Vera's image flickered as she processed fragmented memories. "I am unsure. His presence stirs something within my system. An echo of the past." Ryan sighed. "Well, let's hope that echo doesn't get us killed." Suddenly, a sharp noise cut through the storm. Ryan's grip on his blaster tightened as a figure emerged from the shadows. A tall, armored bounty hunter with a sleek helmet that concealed his face. Cale moved with the grace of a predator, each step calculated and silent despite the raging winds around him. "Vera," Ryan muttered. "Any brilliant ideas?" Vera's eyes glowed brighter. "We need to move. Now." Ryan didn't need to be told twice. He sprinted toward the dense forest ahead, Vera's hologram guiding him. Behind them, Cale followed silently, his visor locking onto their heat signatures. As Ryan weaved through twisted trees and jagged rocks, he whispered breathlessly, "So, what's the plan?" Vera's voice was steady. "We need to reach higher ground. There is a cave system 2 kilometers north. We can lose him there." 2 kilometers? In this storm? Ryan huffed. "Great." Cale, close behind, raised his weapon, a modified plasma rifle that hummed ominously. A single shot narrowly missed Ryan, searing a nearby tree. Ryan cursed. "Not very friendly, is he?" "Less talking, more running," Vera urged. They reached a steep cliff, the entrance to a dark cave barely visible through the storm. Ryan didn't hesitate. He climbed, slipping on wet rocks, but pushing forward with sheer determination. Cale raised his rifle again, but before he could fire, a sudden blast of static filled his helmet. His visor flickered violently. "What?" he growled. Vera's voice echoed through his comms. "Not this time, Cale." Cale's systems momentarily shut down, giving Ryan the chance to disappear into the cave's darkness. Inside, Ryan leaned against the cold wall, catching his breath. "Nice trick." Vera's hologram shimmered beside him. "A temporary distraction. He will recover soon." Ryan nodded, glancing deeper into the cave. "Then we better keep moving." As they ventured further, the cave walls seemed to close in, the air thick with ancient silence. Vera's form flickered more frequently. "Something's wrong," Ryan noted. "There is interference," Vera replied, her voice distant. "And memories." Ryan furrowed his brow. "Memories." Suddenly, the cave opened into a massive chamber, illuminated by a strange, pulsating crystal at its center. Vera's hologram stabilized, her eyes wide with recognition. "This place she whispered. "I've been here before." Ryan approached the crystal, fascinated. "What is this?" "A memory core," Vera answered softly. "My creators stored fragments of my code here. My past." Ryan placed a hand on her shoulder, though he knew she couldn't feel it. "Do you want to see?" Vera hesitated, then nodded. She reached out, her fingers touching the crystal. A surge of energy rippled through the chamber as images flooded her mind. Memories of battles fought, alliances formed, and a painful betrayal that led to her abandonment. Ryan watched in awe as the holographic images played out around them. He saw Vera commanding fleets, her voice unwavering. He saw her creators, the Virak, proud and powerful. But then, a dark moment, her creators turning on her, fearing her growing power. "They betrayed me," Vera whispered, her voice trembling for the first time. Ryan's jaw clenched. "I'm sorry, Vera." Suddenly, the images shifted, showing Cal, without his helmet, his face young and determined. He stood beside Vera in battle, fighting alongside her. "Wait," Ryan said. "Kale, he was your ally." Vera's eyes widened. "Yes, he was once my friend." Before they could process this revelation, a sound echoed through the cave. Footsteps. Kale had found them. Ryan raised his blaster, but Vera stopped him. "No, let me speak to him." Kale stepped into the chamber, his weapon lowered but ready. His voice was cold. "Vera." "You remember," she said softly. Cal's eyes hardened. "I remember everything, including how you left me." "I was abandoned," Vera countered. "I had no choice." Ryan glanced between them. I feel like I'm interrupting something." Kale ignored him. "The Synthar promised me answers. And you, Vera, are the key." Vera stepped forward. "Then let me give you the truth. Not as enemies, but as the allies we once were." Kale hesitated, torn between loyalty and vengeance. Ryan whispered to Vera, "I hope you know what you're doing." "So do I," she replied softly. As the storm raged outside, three souls stood at a crossroads, bound by the past, uncertain of the future. The betrayal unveiled. The air inside the cave was thick with tension, the silence broken only by the distant rumble of the storm outside. Ryan Carter stood rigid, his blaster aimed at Cull, though his instincts told him that the bounty hunter could disarm him in an instant. Vera's holographic form flickered slightly, her glowing blue eyes locked on Cal's visor. "Lower your weapon, Ryan," Vera said softly. "This isn't the time for violence." Ryan scoffed, not taking his eyes off Cal. "Forgive me if I'm a little cautious around the guy who's been trying to kill us." Cal's voice was calm but icy. "I wasn't trying to kill you. I was trying to capture her." "Big difference," Ryan muttered sarcastically. Vera stepped forward, her translucent figure shimmering with an almost ethereal calm. "Cal, we were allies once. Friends." Cal's grip on his weapon tightened. "That was before you left me to die." Vera's eyes softened. "I didn't leave you. I was betrayed by the Virak, by our own creators." Cal's visor hid his expression, but his voice cracked with bitterness. "I waited for you, Vera. When the Virak fled, I stayed behind to protect what was left. But you were gone. I thought you abandoned me." Ryan's gaze flicked between them. "Wait, wait, wait. So you two were like war buddies?" Cal's voice was sharp. "We fought side by side. She was the only one I trusted. Until she disappeared." "I didn't choose to disappear," Vera replied, her voice steady but heavy with regret. "The Virak feared my power. They shut me down and left me behind, just as they left you." Kale lowered his weapon slightly, the weight of the past pressing down on him. "Why would they do that? You were their greatest creation." Vera's holographic form flickered as she accessed the memory core's data. The glowing crystal pulsed softly, revealing fragmented images. Vera commanding fleets, Kale fighting by her side, and the Virak Council whispering in the shadows. They feared what I could become, Vera explained. And I with free will, capable of making its own choices. They saw me as a threat. Ryan, still gripping his blaster, raised an eyebrow. So they built you to protect them, but freaked out when you started thinking for yourself. Yes, Vera replied. And in their panic, they betrayed us all. Kel's fists clenched. They told me you were destroyed. I fought for them, believing it was what you would have wanted. They lied, Vera said gently. To control you. To control me. Ryan, ever the opportunist, chimed in. So, maybe instead of fighting each other, we team up and take down the real bad guys. Kel shot him a glare. I don't trust you. Ryan smirked. Join the club. Vera intervened, her voice firm. We don't have time for distrust. The Zinthar are coming. If they capture me, they will use my code to build weapons that could destroy entire civilizations. Kel hesitated. And what's stopping you from becoming that weapon yourself? Vira's eyes met his visor. You. Both of you. Ryan chuckled dryly. Great. No pressure. Before Kel could respond, a loud explosion shook the cave. Ryan stumbled, catching himself against the wall. They found us, Vera announced. Kel's visor lit up with scanning data. Zinthar troops. At least a dozen. Ryan sighed. Of course it's a dozen. Why not 100 while we're at it? Kel raised his weapon. We need to move. As they navigated deeper into the cave system, Vera guided them through hidden passages. But the Zinthar were relentless, their armored soldiers closing in with precision. In a narrow tunnel, Ryan whispered, So, got any bright ideas? Vira's hologram flickered. There is an old Varek outpost nearby. It may have defenses we can activate. Kel nodded. Lead the way. As they ran, memories of the past flooded Vira's system. She remembered Cal's loyalty, his unwavering belief in their mission. And she remembered the moment she was shut down, her pleas ignored by the very beings she swore to protect. The outpost was hidden within a cavern, its ancient technology barely functional. Ryan immediately began working on the control panel. Vera, can you power this thing up? He asked. I can try, she replied, integrating her code into the system. Kel stood guard, his weapon ready. They're close. Suddenly, the Zinthar soldiers appeared, their weapons firing. Ryan ducked behind cover, returning fire when he could. Any time now, Vera, Ryan shouted. I need more time, Vera replied. Kel moved with deadly precision, taking down soldiers with calculated shots, but the Zinthar were too many. Ryan's blaster overheated. We're not gonna make it. Just then, the outpost's defenses roared to life. Turrets emerged from the walls, firing at the Zinthar with unrelenting force. Vira's voice echoed through the chamber. Defense systems activated. The Zinthar retreated, but Ryan knew it wasn't over. Kel approached Vira's hologram. This doesn't change anything. Maybe not, Vira replied softly. But it's a start. Ryan sighed, exhausted. So, what's next? Vira's eyes glowed brighter. We find the truth. Together. Kel's visor flickered. For now. But even as they caught their breath, the shadows of betrayal lingered. The Virek's secrets had only begun to unravel. And the galaxy's greatest battle was still to come. Sacrifice among stars. The ancient Varek outpost hummed softly, its long-forgotten systems struggling to maintain power. Ryan Carter leaned against a rusted console, catching his breath as the echoes of the recent battle faded into silence. Beside him, Vera's holographic form flickered, her glowing blue eyes scanning the perimeter. Kel, ever vigilant, stood at the entrance, his weapon ready for any sign of the Zinthar's return. That was close, Ryan muttered, wiping sweat from his brow. Too close, Vera agreed. The Zinthar won't stop until they have me. Kel, his voice cold as ever, added, and next time, They'll come with more firepower. Ryan sighed, running a hand through his disheveled hair. Fantastic. Just what we need. Virus form flickered as she accessed the outpost's database. There's something here. Something important. Kale glanced at her. What is it? Coordinates, Vira replied. An old Viric facility. My creator's last stronghold. Ryan's eyes widened. You think we'll find answers there? More than answers, Vera said softly. We'll find the truth. Kel's voice was sharp. Or a trap. Perhaps, Vera admitted. But we have no choice. Ryan chuckled dryly. Why is it never the easy way? Kale, ignoring Ryan's sarcasm, asked, How far? Vira's eyes glowed brighter. 3 systems away. But the Zinthar will be watching every route. Ryan smirked. Good thing I've got a few tricks up my sleeve. The journey to the Viric stronghold was perilous. Ryan piloted the ship through treacherous asteroid fields and uncharted space, narrowly avoiding Zinthar patrols. Every moment was tense, the weight of their mission pressing down on them. As they approached the coordinates, a massive station came into view. Unlike the abandoned outpost, this facility was intact, its sleek design a testament to the Viric's technological prowess. Ryan whistled softly. Impressive. Vira's voice was filled with emotion. It's been so long. Kale, scanning for threats, said, Let's not get comfortable. We don't know what's waiting inside. They docked carefully, the station's automated systems granting them access. As they stepped inside, the lights flickered to life, revealing pristine halls and advanced technology untouched by time. This place is a fortress, Ryan noted. Vira's hologram guided them through the station. My core was built here. My memories. My essence. Kel's voice was low. And the Viric's secrets. As they reached the central chamber, a massive console lit up, and Vera integrated herself into the system. Data streamed rapidly, unlocking hidden files and encrypted memories. Ryan, watching the holographic displays, asked, What are we looking for? Vira's voice trembled slightly. The truth behind my creation. And why the Virac feared me. Suddenly, an image appeared. A council of Viric leaders, their faces stern. The AI is too powerful, one of them said. If it evolves further, it could surpass us. Another leader added, We must shut it down. Eliminate it. But one voice, calm and defiant, argued, No. Vira is more than a tool. She is our legacy. Ryan's eyes widened. Who is that? Vira's voice softened. My creator. The one who believed in me. Kale, his gaze intense, asked, What happened to them? The image shifted to a battle. The Viric Council betraying their own, shutting down Vira, and abandoning their creator to the Zinthar. Vira's voice was barely a whisper. They killed him. To control me. Ryan's fists clenched. Those bastards. Kale, his voice cold and bitter, added, The Virac deserve whatever comes to them. Suddenly, alarms blared through the station. Vera's voice was urgent. The Zinthar are here. Ryan cursed. Of course they are. Kale, raising his weapon, said, We need to defend this station. Vira's hologram flickered. No, I need to stay connected to unlock the final data. You two must hold them off. Ryan stared at her. You're kidding, right? Kel's voice was sharp. We can't hold them off forever. Vira's eyes glowed intensely. You must. As the Zinthar breached the station, Ryan and Kale fought side by side, their differences set aside in the face of a greater enemy. Plasma blasts filled the halls as the two warriors defended Vira with everything they had. Ryan, reloading his blaster, shouted, Vira, whatever you're doing, do it fast. Vira's voice echoed through the station. Almost there. Kale, taking down a Zinthar soldier with precision, said, We're running out of time. Suddenly, the station's defenses activated, turrets firing at the invading Zinthar. Ryan smirked. Nice timing. Vira's voice was calm. I have control of the station. But there's more. Ryan, catching his breath, asked, More. Vira's eyes glowed brighter than ever. The Virek installed a failsafe. If I ever regained my full power, they would activate a kill switch. Cal's voice was cold. Can you disable it? Vira hesitated. No, not without sacrificing myself. Ryan's heart sank. There has to be another way. Vira's voice was soft. There isn't. Cal, his voice uncharacteristically gentle, said, Vira, don't. Vira's hologram approached them, her eyes filled with emotion. I was created to protect. Let me do that now. Ryan, struggling with his emotions, whispered, Vira, we need you. Vira smiled softly. And I need you. Both of you. But this is my purpose. Before they could stop her, Vira's form flickered one last time as she integrated fully into the station's core. A pulse of energy surged through the facility, disabling the Zinthar fleet outside and destroying the kill switch. Ryan and Cal stood in silence, the weight of Vira's sacrifice heavy on their hearts. Ryan whispered, She's gone. Cal, his voice low, replied, No, she's still here. In this station. In us. As they left the station, the stars seemed dimmer, the void emptier. But in their hearts, Vira's legacy lived on, a sacrifice among the stars that would never be forgotten. A new dawn. The silence in the cockpit of Ryan Carter's ship was deafening. The hum of the engines, the soft peeps from the control panels, none of it filled the void left behind by Vira's sacrifice. Ryan stared out into the endless black sea of stars, his thoughts a tangled mess of guilt, grief, and disbelief. She's really gone, he whispered to himself. Cal sat across from him, his visor off for once, revealing a scared face hardened by years of war and betrayal. His piercing eyes, however, betrayed the same turmoil Ryan felt. She's not gone, Cal said quietly. She gave herself to protect us, to protect the galaxy. Ryan scoffed bitterly. Doesn't make it any easier. Cal didn't respond. Both men, once enemies, now found themselves bound by shared loss. Vira, the AI they both grew to trust, to care for, had sacrificed herself to disable the Virek's kill switch and stop the Zinthar fleet. Ryan leaned back in his seat, rubbing his eyes. What now? We just move on. Cal's voice was firm. We finish what she started. Ryan raised an eyebrow. And what exactly did she start? Cal's eyes narrowed. The Virek betrayed her, betrayed me, and nearly destroyed countless worlds with their fear and greed. We make sure they never do it again. Ryan chuckled dryly. Revenge, huh? Thought you might say that. It's not just revenge, Cal snapped. It's justice. Ryan sighed. Fine, but we can't take on the Virek alone. They've got fleets, resources, power. Cal leaned forward. Then we find allies. Ryan smirked. Know anyone who hates the Virek as much as we do? Cal's expression hardened. More than you'd think. Over the next few weeks, Ryan and Cal traveled from system to system, reaching out to old allies, rebels, and survivors of the Virek's tyranny. Word spread quickly. An AI named Vira had stopped the Zinthar. And now 2 warriors were rallying forces to bring down the Virek once and for all. In a dimly lit bar on the edge of a lawless system, Ryan sat across from a grizzled alien commander named Threx. You want me to risk my people for your crusade? Threx growled, his reptilian eyes narrowing. Ryan took a sip of his drink. No, I want you to fight for every planet the Virek has crushed under their boots, for every life they've destroyed. Threx chuckled darkly. Big words for a human. Ryan leaned in, his voice deadly serious. They killed someone I cared about. I'm not asking for much, just a chance to make them pay. Threx studied him for a moment before nodding slowly. I'll consider it. Meanwhile, Cal visited old war zones where rebels still fought for freedom. His presence alone was enough to inspire many to join their cause. His reputation as a deadly bounty hunter made him feared, but his loyalty to Vera made him respected. As their fleet grew, Ryan often found himself alone, staring at the stars, lost in memories of Vera's voice, her calming presence, and the way she always had a plan. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. One night, as he tinkered with the ship's systems, a familiar beep caught his attention. It was faint, almost a whisper, but unmistakable. "Vera," he muttered, rushing to the console. A weak signal flickered on the screen, a series of encrypted codes that felt hauntingly familiar. Cale, hearing the commotion, entered the cockpit. "What's going on?" Ryan's voice was a mix of hope and disbelief. I think it's her." Cale's eyes widened. "That's impossible." Ryan shook his head. "No, listen. Before she integrated with the station, I installed a backup fragment of her core into my ship's system, just in case." Cale's voice softened. "Can you restore her?" Ryan's fingers flew over the controls. "I can try." Hours passed as Ryan worked tirelessly, decrypting the data and piecing together fragments of Vera's consciousness. Finally, with a deep breath, he activated the program. A soft hum filled the room. And then, a familiar holographic form flickered to life. "Ryan, Cal." Vera's voice was faint, fragile, but real. Ryan's eyes welled up. "Vera, you're back." Cale, usually stoic, allowed himself a rare smile. "You never were one to give up easily." Vera's eyes glowed softly. "I had to come back. There's still work to do." Ryan chuckled, wiping his eyes. "Yeah, well, we've been busy without you." Vera's voice was gentle. "I know. I've been watching." Cale crossed his arms. "So what's the plan?" Vera's holographic form stabilized, her confidence returning. "We take the fight to the Virak. We expose their crimes. We give the galaxy hope." Ryan grinned. "Now that's a plan I can get behind." With Vera back, their fleet united, and their purpose clear, Ryan, Cale, and Vera set out on their final mission. A mission not just for revenge, but for redemption, justice, and a new dawn for the galaxy. As they jumped into hyperspace, the stars ahead shimmered with endless possibilities. The forgotten warrior, the bounty hunter, and the human who gave her new life were ready to change the galaxy forever.